Hey there, folks. My name is Misadventurer, and welcome to the first episode of the Carpetania campaign. This is going to be a remake of a campaign that I did just about 2 years ago here on the channel, my very first modded campaign featuring for the first time on the channel Imperator Invictus, which I am returning to with this remake campaign. Very, very excited to have Invictus going again. I've not played with Invictus for quite a long time, and there have been a few changes since I last did a campaign featuring Invictus, but we are, for this campaign, playing with the 1.7.1 version of Invictus, the Ides of March version, and we're playing with a few other mods as well. I will quickly note that I'm playing with a personally self-modified version of Invictus I've made some changes to, changed the start date to January 1st instead of October 1st, and I've also manually removed all of the starting roads and holy sites from the map for a more blank slate map situation when things begin. Also playing with the Imperator Navigable Rivers mod, the Invictus version, to add some additional rivers that navies can make use of for greater strategic depth. And I'm playing with the Music Player Plus mod for additional music diversity, the 2.0 Better UI mod for a much improved UI structure, and lastly I'm playing with the No Minimum Levy Sizes mod to make it so that there is no longer the default 4 cohorts per region, no matter the population of the region, to avoid the need for region splitting. A strategy I really actually fully developed during the original version of the Carpetania campaign, which of course you can find on my channel if you scroll back in the video logs to about 2 years ago is when I made that series. Now, one other big thing about the previous series, you do not need to have watched it or to watch it now in order to watch this series. I will occasionally perhaps make little references back to the original version, but this is very much a remake and a reattempt at a similar idea, with one big difference. I've decided that unlike in the original series, where I was aiming to reform into a republic, because I thought that would be interesting, and then I was very quickly frustrated by the glitchy way tribes reforming into republics kind of messes everything up, and it just is kind of a big mess. It was definitely a fun goal to go for, but it was just kind of logistically a nightmare, which in fairness is not unrealistic when a tribe wants to become a republic straight away. But putting that aside, this time around I'm going to be reforming into a monarchy, so we're going to be changing it up. I do think monarchies are a bit better balanced in Imperator Rome, and although I do give Invictus credit, Invictus dramatically improves the playability of republics. The last major Imperator Rome campaign that I have under my belt is the Rome campaign, in which I was playing as a republic, and I'm a little wiped out of the republic mechanics, honestly, after that. So I just want to play something a bit more straightforward, and monarchies definitely have their own internal mechanics to be concerned with, so I'm certainly not going to be short on things to focus on internally. Not that I am ever short on things to focus on internally. I am, if you don't know, a giant min-maxer. I'm very, very focused on efficiency, and I will play this game very slowly and very precisely, although compared to how I performed in the first version of the campaign 2 years ago, probably my pacing has improved as I'm just now very experienced with doing these sorts of Let's Plays, and I have a good idea of how to proceed. So I'm also looking to kind of see how I've grown as an Imperator Rome player by comparing my performance in this remake campaign to what I did 2 years ago. So, having said all that, let's go ahead and launch the game here and see exactly what kind of leader we've been auto-generated. Of course, it's random every time you load the game up, so I don't know what we're going to be dealing with over here in our starting nation, which of course is not called Carpetania. If you remember from the first version of the series, this was the case there as well. The culture we're playing as is the Carpetanian culture, but we are playing as the tribe of Diatiquia. It looks like our starting tribal chief is Bercusa Carosus. All right, 9-9-10-2. Holy moly, that is a good roll. All right, I am pretty pleased with this guy. This guy's straight off of the set of the show Vikings. He's an extra on that show, probably. Doesn't look particularly Spanish to me, but not going to hold it against him. That is a legendary starting stat spread, 9-9-10-2. Not particularly religious, but that is A-okay with me. This guy's got it where it counts in every other regard. Alright, that's a pretty good start. So we are playing as the tribe of Diatiquia, here in the center of the Iberian Peninsula. And critically, our capital, Toletum, which in the future will become I think, more or less the location of the city of Toledo, an important city and capital in Spanish history, and kind of the whole history of the Iberian Peninsula is many thousands of years. So at certain points, I think it was the capital. I don't think it's the capital currently. I think Madrid is the capital currently. But either way, it's nearby Madrid. Madrid's in this area somewhere. Of course, it's not built yet. But Toledo is going to be our capital. It is just about on the river Tagus, which does go all the way out to the Atlantic Ocean. And I did check this in a test game that I did before hitting record. We can build a port in Toledo if we have the building slot for it, and use Toledo as a surprise naval center, which of course is always nice for your capital city. But putting aside having a good capital location, the other fun thing with the Antiquia is its Carpetanian culture, which means that we are in a area where the local culture is our culture, the Carpetanian culture, meaning conquering these other Carpetanian tribes gives us an already integrated native population that we can make use of for manpower, for taxes, for everything, with no need to assimilate. So we are in the very center of everything, the center of the crowded and kind of convoluted classical Spanish environment where there's a lot going on. We got Carthage colonizing the south, we got Greeks colonizing the coastline, and also even over here as well. We've got a religious divide happening between the Druidic section, of which we are a part, we are a Druidic nation, and the local Iberics who are being sort of displaced by the Druidics coming in with migrations from Europe. We got the nearby Marite religion by the mountains. Of course, the Carthaginians and the Greeks are spreading Canaanite and Hellenic religion, respectively. And even the Balearic Islands have got their own Nuragic religion, which is also found over here on these islands as well. Culture-wise, the Druidic Iberic divide is largely lined up with a Celt-Iberian culture group, of which we are a member, and the true Iberian culture. So you can sort of see what's going on here. We've got a fusion culture that we are a part of between Celtic and Iberian, and then the truly native Iberians are being kind of slowly displaced and pushed out and hemmed in from the other direction by Punic and Hellenic colonists as well. So there's a lot going on in Iberia, and this is even before the Romans are getting involved. They're currently just beginning their own storyline over here. We'll see how they do in this campaign. We're not really that close to them, but of course, whenever you play Imperator Rome anywhere in Western Europe, you have to keep one eye on the Italian peninsula to see what's going on over there, as Rome is definitely a serious force that should never be underestimated. Even in this case, when we've already got one eye watching Carthage, we have to keep both of our eyes occupied watching the two great Mediterranean powers. At least one of them is the rising Mediterranean power, even with everything happening around here. So this is going to be a politically complicated campaign, a lot going on, lots of tribes everywhere, lots of relationships we can form, allegiances we can form, and big plans for our own ascent. We're going to form, as best as we can, a unified, powerful Iberian kingdom. We're not going to accept Romans, we're not going to accept Hellenics or Punics coming onto our peninsula and taking our best city locations and resources. We're kicking them all out into the Mediterranean. Iberia will belong to the Iberians, which is to say the Celt-Iberians. We're just going to not think about the fact that we're also kind of sort of the descendants of colonists, but just don't think about it. So putting that aside, we are going to be trying to unify Iberia together and seeing what we can get up to in this timeline, as this will become an alt-history scenario very quickly. So with that basic plan out of the way, which of course is what any Imperator Rome campaign would roughly look like, let's talk a bit more about our starting situation specifically. So, as noted, we are of Carpetanian culture, which incidentally, for levy purposes, means we've got a big focus on cavalry, 40% light cav, and 30% heavy cav, with a very small 30% infantry split, 20-10 light and heavy respectively, so we should keep that in mind. This is actually, I think, the case for all of the Celt-Iberian culture group. Culture is very cavalry-oriented army style, which is quite interesting, and appropriate for the very flat, plain areas of Spain. Although Spain is split between these big flat plains and these hilly rough terrain areas. The south and the north in particular are hilly and mountainous, but the central areas are these big sweeping plains. This is exactly where we're starting off, and we're going to be able to take advantage of the full strength of our horses on this flat ground, so we need to keep this all in mind. And because of the INR mod that I'm playing with, we do have these navigable rivers, including the one just coming straight up to Toletum, which give us even more interesting strategic opportunities that we may not normally have had being so far inland. We're technically not really inland because this river connects us straight with the ocean. Of course, this river would be very easy to blockade as we are at the end of it, the source of it, essentially. But we're not exactly going to be competing with basically anybody for naval power for quite a long time, and of course, we certainly can't compete with Carthage or even at the start of the game, Rome, for any sort of naval dominance, but does give us some more options, particularly against the other Iberians. So, we are of Druidic religion. Druids acted for the Celts as a distinct social class, often acting as magistrates and lawmakers. They also dictated local religious customs and beliefs. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. I actually think Druidic is one of the stronger religions mechanically in Imperator Rome, and Imperator Invictus does not really change that. The malice of monthly wages for characters 5% is honestly really not that big of a deal, particularly early on as a tribe, where your wages are quite low and your money is quite low, and your wages are often based to some extent off of your available money and your income. And you know who tends to be Druidic is tribes, right? Generally, most of the Druidic nations are tribes. So it's a pretty good effect for us, a pretty good malice for us to be dealing with compared to some other things. And the two bonuses are both really strong. Country, same religion, happiness, 5% is really, really strong, as this will ensure our Druidic population is happier. And manpower recovery speed, 2.50% is phenomenal, particularly early on before many of the military bonuses from technology become available. This will give us a leg up over the Iberics. Although we shouldn't neglect the fact that the Iberics have their own military advantages, particularly light infantry morale 5%. We got to keep that in mind, as the Iberics do tend to have light infantry-oriented armies. Take a look at that, 40%, 30% light infantry, light cav. Basically, our cavalry distributions just turned into infantry distributions for them. So they are really going to have strong light infantry corps, but we will have to make use of our thunderous cavalry to overcome that. Of course, we are partially Gauls, so it makes sense that we've got such a focus on cavalry. Right, so having said that, we are playing as a settled tribe. Tribal leaders are elected for life by a council of the clan leaders. This is a society that has come to settle permanently in its region, embracing a sedentary lifestyle. So we're kind of in the middle between a migratory tribe and a reformed kingdom or republic. In this campaign, we're going to be forming into a kingdom, although, of course, in the very first Carpetania campaign from 2 years ago, I aimed to become a republic, which is still kind of a fun idea. But I do think, like I said late in that campaign, probably would be better just to play as a republic from the beginning so that things aren't all offset in a way that drives my OCD crazy. But either way, we're going to be reforming into a monarchy in this version of the timeline. So as a settled tribe, we've got lifelong rulers. The succession is between the different tribal rulers, who also, importantly, each control one of our retinues of our levy. And we've got one military and one oratory idea, which in my opinion is totally fine, because the two strongest ideas available at the start of the game without any tech investment is the martial ethos idea and the sanctioned bribery idea. I don't recall exactly what it's called, but it's the anti-corruption idea for the oratory slot. So these two slots line up with that perfectly, and matching them gives us an incredibly powerful 12% tribesman happiness. Obviously very strong given our big tribesman population, so that's just excellent. Now we also have by default 7.50% levy size multiplier. We need to keep that number in mind, and a few other modifiers there as well. 5% country civil level from our tribal status, and we also miscellaneously have looks like 15% manpower and 20% manpower recovery speed. I don't remember exactly what these modifiers are. We're going to see what they actually spell out in the game, but nothing too critical to note there. Lastly, let's talk about our Carpetanian heritage. The Carpetanians are a tribe with a humble heritage at the very center of the peninsula, often overlooked by their neighbors. What may appear as weakness is in fact their strength. While the others endlessly squabble among themselves, the Carpetanians prefer to thrive in peace and build mighty coalitions that may strike when the time for war inevitably comes. Now, as I said in the first version of the campaign 2 years ago, the heritage modifiers of the Carpetanian heritage are okay, but they're not great. The import value minus 5% malice is actually a little punishing for a commerce economy outlook in the long term. but the national population growth is quite nice for the long-term benefits, and ultimately the improved opinion maximum I don't think is a particularly strong bonus, but it certainly doesn't hurt, and I could see certain large, powerful nations that have interests in Iberia that we may want to keep friendly terms with, even if we have some aggressive expansion built up in the area. That maximum could be handy there. Now, having said all that, let's go ahead and get our game configuration set up. I'm going to be playing this on normal difficulty, even though I feel comfortable playing on hard, mainly because I just don't know how the most recent versions of Imperator and Invictus have been rebalanced. So to play it safe, and because this won't necessarily be the easiest campaign for a number of reasons, I'm going to be playing on normal difficulty, although I acknowledge now that this may make the campaign a little easier than what I could realistically pull off. I'm also just trying to have fun. I'm not trying to just show off my pure technical skill. Maybe after this campaign, I'll remake the Monopia campaign to do that, but we'll see. I'm going to play with armor mode turned on. Now, I think with the mods that I've got, achievements are possible because of the 2.0.4 beta patch that I'm running, but I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not, as I am playing with more than just Invictus. I have some other mods and changes going on, but it says that achievements are possible, so I guess we'll see. I think I will... Let me think about this for a minute. Yeah, I'm not going to turn on mixed gender rules because my nation already allows mixed gender government, so I'm not going to bother turning this on. And I do like having the mixed gender mechanic, as you can basically, with this turned on, spend political influence to unlock the ability to have women in your government, which I can do anyways because I am a Celt-Iberian culture, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. We'll just leave this off and take advantage of our cultural nature letting us do that anyways. As for game rules, I'm going to leave all of the Invictus things kept on by default and turn on dynastic Diadochi names. I'll keep the chaotic modifiers off. You can read all these by pausing the video if you like, but it's just the standard Invictus stuff. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with the Carpetania campaign. Carpetania campaign. Here we go. Alright. Okay, so I just realized that the mini-map is going to be completely covered by my base cam, but you actually really can't see it at all. But the mini-map does have all of the new rivers shown on it, although it is so zoomed out, it's not super helpful. It just helps orient you of where on the map you are in a very zoomed-out sense, but the finer details are, of course, going to need more situational awareness. Right, so here we are in the Carpetania campaign, attempts number 2, and let's go ahead and get going here. So first and foremost, we don't have any special missions as Diatiquia, but we do have a few decisions I do want to talk about here. So let me deal with the matter of Carpetania later. First things first, let's talk about our goals here from a mission point of view. So I will go ahead and not have abandoned sedentary lifestyle toggle. We're not going to become a migratory tribe. I will do the tribal reform when I'm able to, so we're going to leave that on. And this I will also do when able to. Now, unify the Carpetani is definitely going to be an early game goal. This actually has us turn into a federated tribe, which is a middle step between settled tribe and republic, which doesn't mean we then have to become a republic. We can still reform into a monarchy, but this just turns us into a federated tribe automatically. This is fine, as we do keep our military and civic ideas. We lose out on the tribesman happiness bonus for the two things being matched up, which is a shame. But on the other hand, we do get, I think that's a 25% pop promotion bonus, which is honestly pretty good as we are transitioning at that point into becoming a monarchy, where you want to promote everyone out of being tribesmen. And I'm spotting a 12.50% levy size multiplier, which I didn't actually realize federated tribes had. This may be a new thing with Invictus. That's a pretty nice upgrade over what we start off with, as settled tribe only gives us 7.50% above our 7.50 default. So that would be quite helpful. Now, as you can see, the no minimum levy sizes mod is doing its thing, as we only have our 2 levies from Carpetania as opposed to the default 4 we would have without the mod, and Baetica doesn't have any levies at all under its governor, its current governor, Duiacias Marganus. Now, I will try, by the way, I probably will do this inconsistently. I'll try to do the Latin pronunciation, as most of the names of things in Spain from this era are known by their Latin names because we just don't have any records at all of what the locals called things, more or less. But so you, like places like Toletum is the Latin name for the location. Who knows what the locals called this? So I'll try my best to do the pronunciation, but I may miss things here or there. So please just give me some slack on that one. In terms of traditions, what do we have? We got Iberian traditions and Celt-Iberian traditions. Okay. Anything really, really noteworthy that we can get through here? I'm just sort of scanning through to see if we get anything particularly amazing. Some of these are pretty good. Nothing minor. 10% national manpower is pretty good, actually. Yeah. Slaves need for surplus. 3 innovations is nice. Okay. The manpower bonus is quite nice. Let's see here. National fort infrastructure capacity is actually pretty good. Wow, okay, that's actually quite nice. Okay, levy size multiplier. That's what I was looking for. I'm going to be honest. I was looking for this exact modifier. Whew, okay, that's good to see. I'm glad we got some levy size multipliers in these trees. So this over here is the winner for sure. These are all good as well. I'm not ignoring these because they're not good. And export value 10%. Wouldn't that actually cancel out our... No, we have import value reduction. Okay, that's fine then. In all honesty, a commerce economy is mostly focused on export, not import, at least the way that I play, so I suppose that's not a huge deal. But anyways, let's not get distracted here. Loyalty of general. Let cab discipline. Women power 10%. Okay, pretty good stuff. So both of our military traditions are solid, nothing incredible, but definitely could be worse. Okay, so first things first, our ideas. Let's get our ideas set up. I need the Tribesman Happiness bonus right away. Playing as a tribe in an area where everyone else is a tribe, there's no reason ever to not get this right away. Okay, so first things first, for our military idea, we're going to go with the old reliable martial ethos. Ensuring that our soldiers and veterans hold a prestigious place in the social hierarchy is key to their contentment and loyalty. 5% morale of armies. I think this is just the strongest of these options. We don't need shipbuilding cost reduction, and this is fine, but it's not as good as morale of armies for land warfare purposes. Next up, the oratory idea. We're going to go for sanctioned privileges, not sanctioned bribes. That's what it's technically doing, but sanctioned privileges. By agreeing to look the other way from time to time, we can lessen our reliance on using currency as a tool for bribery. Monthly corruption minus 0.05. This is just handy to get because the other things here, loyalty of generals and admirals or opinion maximum, this is not super useful unless you're doing a strategy that involves, diplomatic appeasement of someone, or if you have, in particular, admirals that are low loyalty, as it can be kind of hard to get rid of low loyalty admirals. But as a tribe, our generals are our tribal chiefs, and so when we raise them into generalship or lower them with our tribal levy, they're actually going to become generals, then not become generals, and they're going to lose the loyalty from this. This could actually be a double-edged sword. So we're going to go for sanctioned privileges, get the Tribesman Happiness going. Very good. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our main character here, Berkusa Carosus. He is a, again, 9910-2. He's got himself a wife, currently the researcher, Diana Tutomala, all right, 1987. Very handily, she should be... No, we have no consorts as a tribe. Never mind. Thinking ahead too much here. But in terms of being a character, Berkusa is confident for extra martial, reduced loyalty, which doesn't have any impact because he's the leader, and chariot discipline and heavy cav discipline for the commander. We do have some heavy cav... Well, we would have some heavy cav in the army if we had more army, but will be useful eventually. Trusting one's instincts is the first step towards mastery. He's also loving, 1 extra max friend, extra charisma, and 1 extra diplomatic relations slot. Actually kind of useful for this strategy. A warm heart and kind gaze can always be found with Berkusa. Let's put him on a scheme influence right away for the extra political influence. Very good. Now his wife, incidentally, is well connected, which I suppose is quite handy, and a carouser. Okay, we can have a lot of friends through our family. We do have 2 children. Looks like they are twins, I think. 1st of January. I suppose that they are twins. Yeah, we got twins. Twin sons, Bretomaris and Maraganis. That's quite auspicious to be sure. Very good. So off to a good start with our leader. Now we do have 2 tribal chiefs in our government at the moment, 2 clan chiefs alongside us. We've got the 6407 Adia Tuanis Tutamalis of the Tutamalii clan. He is cruel and narrow-minded. Okay, well, he's also currently fairly loyal. 55 base is fine. And then we've got Karasuna Wodenosa of the Wodenosii clan. 10, 5, 6, 8. We got ourselves a higher martial character than our main guy. We need to keep an eye on. She may steal our city sacks or capital sacks if we're not paying attention to what forces she is leading. Bit of a military genius over here. She's pregnant, and she's an original thinker, and she's lapsed. Okay, interesting. 10, 5, 6, 8. So pretty solid martial clan chiefs, which is always handy for a tribal campaign. We're going to do the war council, but first we're going to reshuffle our government. Let me go ahead and do just that. We're going to go ahead and start by firing everyone who is the lowest loyalty first to avoid people becoming unfireable and needing to be bribed to be kicked out of the government. We're going to start things over from scratch and focus on matching everybody up to their exact perfect aptitude, which is something that the game generally does pretty well at, but I think I can do better than what the game sets up automatically. And there's really no reason to not do this, as the loyalty losses you gain will ultimately end up just staying with people you don't rehire, and then they're not in government anyway, so it doesn't really matter what they think about you unless they're very strong otherwise. Okay, so anyone with traits, we're going to prioritize that. Ruler or governor, not to generate though. Okay, so you've got a trait. Are you good at anything? You're good at oratory. Let me make you the oratory researcher. And he's a family character too. Alright, Etito Wias Wodenosis, with his 8 charisma, is going to be our oratory researcher, and with intelligent, he'll generate us additional innovations while he's in a researcher position. I didn't see anyone else with traits, so we're just going to assign... I think we'll do the research stuff last, as we're not going to really have a lot of research until we reform. So back over here, what's going to be the priority? National Tribes and Happiness is the priority. That's a clear thing. 9 charisma from Arawaris Carosis. Alright, this looks fine. Make him the Elder. And what next? Manpower recovery speed from Kata Wodenosa with 9 martial. Very good. Let's do national tax next from Diana Tutamala. And let me think for a minute. My wife is... That's my wife. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I can make her the magistrate. I may want to build up her statesmanship and use her as a governor. You know what? I just realized I forgot to actually fire this guy, too. This guy's terrible. I definitely want to fire this guy. And I wonder if I should make my wife the leader down there. We're not likely to expand into Baetica very soon, so her having low martial shouldn't be a problem, but her having high finesse would be quite nice. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to hedge my bets here, and I'm going to give my wife the governorship over here. I guess I could give it to someone who actually is technically a little better. But as a carouser, she does give Freeman happiness. And she should be fairly loyal, because she's my wife. Well, one would hope at least, but her loyalty should be increased because she's married to the ruling family. Revoked offices should go away eventually. Okay, I'm going to cross my fingers that I've got myself a loyal governor here. I guess we'll see. Okay, getting back to it. National tax, let's put Karti Mandua Carosa over here. Let's see here. Let's do Open Power next. Oh, yeah. Tenzil with Ada Domatus Carosus. AE change. We're going to throw on Tazgetius Wodenosis. War Chief will be anyone... Which families are still mad? Oh, the Tutamala family. Okay, yikes. Let's attend to that first. Okay, Kunsa Tutamala, we'll put her in as the apothecary. 7 is fine. Don't really want to go too far lower, though. We'll put this guy here, Cassiwayaunus Tutamalis. There we go. Now for the War Chief, we'll just assign for aptitude with Tincomatus Tutamalis, a very powerful commoner. There he goes. Alright, that is probably a better government overall. It's hard to say, but I feel pretty happy with that. Then we'll assign the rest of our researchers to whoever is really good that's left. Totia Carosa for a bit of extra family presence there. And then we'll do Catugnas Catugnatus Tutamalis there as well. And then we'll do, let's see. These are the same levels. So let's do the family character, Senila Carusa. There we go. Very nice. Alright, and now we don't have any innovations available because we're not a technologically advanced nation yet, so nothing to worry about there. Okay, let's go ahead now and let's see, what are we doing here? Acquisition of wealth down here. I suppose that's probably okay, but I may want to change it. Loyalty here is fine. That's good. Who lives over here? Wettonians. They're Druidic. Okay, that's a good start. Oh wait, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong thing. There are still Wettonians here. Okay. Going to need to focus on assimilation, I think. We just have one tile at the moment, but I do want to get this switched over to assimilation. Alright, let's switch it over. This will cost a bit of political influence and some tyranny, but I can't reduce the cost with tech, because I don't have any tech points. So let's just switch it over to cultural assimilation. There we go. What's the rate going to be like over here? Alright, 0.82 certainly could be worse, so I'll just let it go. It's about 10 years per character, but that's a start at least. Okay, up here, everyone's Carpetanian, so no need to do assimilation. Everyone's Druidic as well. I could try to min-max this by doing bleed them dry. As the modifiers for your capital province, the provincial loyalty won't matter because the capital province is always loyal. But will the food become a problem? I'm going to hold off on switching it. Well, I may want to do Borderlands, honestly, for the extra manpower. Yeah, I probably should do Borderlands. Yeah, let's do Borderlands. We'll see if there are food problems here. Hopefully not. I don't think our population is large enough for that, even in Invictus. Alright, we've got ourselves a kind of a mixed pantheon. We got one Iberic god floating around here. We do want to replace that to be all Druidic gods, I think. We've got a lot of options here. Okay, let's see. Do noble happiness, discipline for a economy god is interesting. Divine sacrifice cost could actually be quite nice. Religious tech investment, commerce income 15%. Passive is really strong, but I don't have a commerce income yet, so let's not go crazy. I think that the discipline god might be the best one. Well, you know what? There's a pop assimilation god, though that's only for Omen. And the passive of research doesn't do too much for me right now. Do I have any pop assimilation passives floating around? You know what, I was looking at the wrong one, wasn't I? Yeah. Any pop assimilation passives? No, it doesn't look like it. Right, no wonder I was thinking, how did I miss that one before? Okay, let's switch over to Nanto Suelta for the discipline bonus, I think. Nanto Suelta is a mystery deity worshipped far and wide in Gaul, Carpetania, and Iberia, often associated with either war or abundance. The goddess is often portrayed as a crow, or with a crow at her side, an animal that is considered sacred among those who venerate her. Getting this mainly for the passive discipline. I'm probably not going to use this as my omen very often, but the discipline will be handy right away. That's all the stability I'll be spending, but now we do have 16% happiness instead of 12%. Very good. So we got 6% discipline from our two gods here. I'm not switching away from Tyrannus right now, even though there are probably some solid alternatives. Actually, not really. Legion maintenance cost or cohort. Yeah, you know what? Tyrannus is the way to go. And then as for who I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to go for Rosmerta, my classic go-to whenever I play as a Druidic nation. The goddess of fertility will bless our people with a bountiful harvest and life for our young ones. As our people are blessed, we are sure to see less of the years of bad harvests, and for more of our people to grow up healthy in the years to come. She is the goddess of fertility and abundance, as well as the consort of Mugus. I think this is better than the popularity gain, and the fort defense is not going to be useful for me very much, so let's go for Rosmerta for the manpower recovery speed as our omen for 5 years. There we go. Alright, now we've got 2 import routes. What can we reach? Not very much. Not very much. We could get, well, okay, never. We could get more wine. Lots of wine available. Could go for more livestock for pop promotion speed. That could be handy. There's a number of good options here. 4% more tribesman happiness in our capital province certainly wouldn't hurt. Or we could get the heavy cav discipline from surplus of horses. That could be kind of interesting. Although, no, we don't have any heavy cav yet, so again, I'm thinking ahead here. Let's get... I think we want to trade for value here at the start. So what's more on the valuable side that we would want? I think we do want the surplus of sheep, although... Let me think about... I guess we can always just change our trades when we conquer someone. So let me trade for sheep for the op promotion speed. Trade with Carthage, I think that's fine. And then we'll trade for... Let's see... Could trade for spices just to lock it down as a valuable trade. Could also get surplus of wine, but the Legion maintenance cost probably won't play a huge role. Unless I plan to use mercenaries in the first war. Where are the mercenaries around here? Where's the closest mercs? Okay, there's some mercenaries kind of around us. They're a little far away. Yeah, it's a little bit of a walk. Okay, let me go for, let's see. Could get more tribesman happiness. Local monthly food wouldn't hurt. Let me lock down the spices for value for now. Trade with Carthage once again. That is going to improve our economic situation a little bit. That's nice. Alright. Now let's go ahead and do the matter of Contestania. Our fortunes await in foreign lands. The Contestania region has been considered part of our borders, yet much of it remains beyond our control. Contestania being this direction over here, basically. Make sure that it is brought under our influence one way or another. This mission will be considered complete when the entire region of Contestania is under Dietiquian influence. Alright, this is the default mission, so we're going to go ahead and... Oh, this is perfect! Cities in Carpetania, that's exactly where my homeland is, so this is actually perhaps doable during this mission. Consult the clan council, we're going to get claims on Lobetania, Carpetania, so that's handy for all of our early wars against the other Carpetanians, and Balearides, which, don't tell me, is... Okay, that's the islands. Great. Okay, so we're getting claims on Carpetania, Lobetania, and the islands. Great. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and get this going. But of course, we're not going to just wait for a year. We do have some ways to speed things up a bit further. We're going to do the War Council. I wanted to reshuffle my government before I did this. Summons a selection of your closest advisors to determine a good direction for our next conquest, and provide a claim on a neighboring province every 10 years. Let's get this going on the January 1st cycle. The War Council assembles. The gruff voices barking over the sound of carousing outside yields an atmospheric setting for the latest meeting of the Dietiquian War Council. In attendance are several of the council's most well-respected members. Adia Tuanis, the author of several tactical treatises. This is one of my clan chiefs. Karsuna, a well-known rogue in Philander. This is my other clan chief. And Kunsa, an advisor of understanding. This is my apothecary. Okay. Barbed insults begin to fly as our advisors feign and deflect with consummate skill, each showing their prowess in political discourse. Ultimately, no compromise can be made, and we are left with three distinct directions. So we got a three-way split. That's good because it means more options. Adia Tuanis is for war with Terta Liquia, which is our neighbor over here. They are in the Carpetania province, and I believe they are also Carpetanian. Let's double check that. They are, and their people should be all Carpetanian. They are, so this would be a very easy target. We actually outnumber them already, so that's a good start. And this gives us a war within 1 month after the 1 month truce. We can't declare war until 1 month after the game starts. They could pick up an alliance before then, but the chances of that are not amazing. Although if they do, I could always have an ally ready to go as well. Either way, okay, so that's our first option. The second option from Karsuna is Kaluria. That would be, let's see, this nation up here, which is only partially in Carpetania. Actually, is it in Carpetania at all? These guys aren't in Carpetania at all, and they're also not Carpetania. I guess they are bordering me, which is why they're being targeted by this event. So that's not a very strong option. Or a territorial war with Turdulia. That is a certified no. I don't know who in the universe thinks this is a good idea. This would expand my wife's domain a little bit, but these guys are not to be messed with. These guys have got 77 population, and they probably have a levy of like 6 or 7 cohorts at the least, so we are not going to be touching these guys. Alright, well, the easiest of our neighbors to pick a fight with is the one we're going to go for. I'm going to go ahead and say that Adia Tuanis has the truth root. We must prepare for a war with Terteliquia right next to us over here. The settlement of Titulcia and the settlement of Vicus Cuminarius will be our targets. Lose some loyalty on, and fortunately, the one guy that we're siding with is a clan chief. Now, the other clan chief will go down to 35 loyalty from this, which is a shame, because she was the lower loyalty of the characters, and my apothecary loses some loyalty, which, I don't care about that. But we shall see if that presents any problems. Let's prepare for war with Terteliquia. Alright, now just to be on the safe side, because I'm a bit nervous about disloyal clan chiefs, I could try to befriend her. I could give her free hands. The corruption gain probably wouldn't be a huge problem for a clan chief. It could affect her loyalty in the long run, but I do have anti-corruption going. This will slow down the corruption gain. Let me give her free hands, not now, but right before I go to war. Although actually I'll go to war in 1 month, so I will have my army ready to go now. Let's give her free hands now before I raise the army, I think. Alright. 55 loyalty, that should secure things a bit. Let's go ahead and increase our maintenance preemptively to add a bit more morale. Raise the army in Toletum. Who do we have here? She's actually not even here in the army. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to revoke free hands because I do want her to be safely above the 33 disloyalty cap, even though she's not leading any forces. This is a bit of a ragtag force, but at least we're in charge of the cav. That's quite fun. I guess we'll form a entirely cav division situation here. Put you on deception, I think. You lead the way. And you go on to skirmishing. And just have a late infantry force here. You follow your commander. There we go. Alright. With all that done, I think we're ready to go ahead and do one last thing, which is the diplomacy stuff. Do we want to set up an alliance preemptively here? And who would we ally with? I want to ally with someone outside of Carpetania or Lobetania, which is the other direction I suppose I could go in next. I think Olcaria would be a pretty solid ally here. They're completely outside of the Carpetania province. They're not Carpetanian, they're Celt-Iberi, but they are Druidic. They would ally with me if I asked them. What's their martial, like 8? Okay. We can actually assume control if they join me in the siege, so that's good. I think these guys make for a very obvious ally, as they also border the other areas of Carpetania, or they will soon border me, to help me fight the southern Carpetanians in Solicia. Let's ally with Olcadia. We actually have a number of diplomatic slots because of our tribal chief and being local powers. Let's ally with Olcadia. Alright, very good. This will also protect me from them. And one thing I could also do as well, because I do have a little bit of political influence spare, I could change my stance. And I think I probably do want to do this. I don't think I need neutral stance. I think what I want to do is go straight to... I could go straight to mercantile stance, but I will probably be doing a fair bit of fighting in the early game here. So there's also an argument for going to bellicose stance. Mostly for the AE impact reduction. I'm not really going to need to fabricate lots of claims or have war score cost concerns because I'll be fighting very small nations. But the problem with this is the opinion loss could be an issue. I think going for... I guess appeasing stance is like the nice version of bellicose stance because it also gives you AE decay instead of AE impact reduction. And this will improve the opinion of my allies. What I mostly care about here is keeping my allies from breaking an alliance with me. So let me think about this. The commerce income bonus will eventually be good, but I think that in the past I've been way too conservative about anything that costs PI. I will eventually just gain PI, and I need to switch things like my ideas and my stances more dynamically as the situation calls for. So I think for now, let's go ahead and switch to appeasing stance. An appeasing stance is focused on presenting a more palatable image abroad while strengthening ties with existing friends. Some would say it is a way of making amends for past sins, or shortly incoming sins, I guess we'll see. Alright, there we go. This will boost up our relations with with Olcadia as well, which you could also continue boosting up by doing, where is it, improved relations. But I rather would just save the money, to be completely honest. This is my way around that. As for my other alliance I could go for, the other good ally to have would probably be Coherencia over here. These guys would ally with me. They're Wittonian. They're not in the Carpetania province, but they are sort of like next to it, basically. And they would protect my other side, essentially. Also, they would be a nasty enemy to be dealing with, although I could cut them off with the river in an interesting way. I think these guys would make for a solid ally. I didn't even look at the numbers here, but 35 Iberian, which, by the way, is stronger than my forces by a fair bit. These guys led by the 6th Marshal. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. This guy is the lone oath Marshal. He can't assume control of sieges for me. Let's ally with Coherencia. There we go. Alright, now we got our 2 alliances, and these alliances are both going to be quite strong because of our modifiers, so that is going to be quite nice. Alright. This is just not updated yet, I don't think. Yeah, it's not updated visually. Okay, that's fine. Alright, I think we're looking good then, so let's go ahead and make sure everything else is where it needs to be. We started this. Diplomacy's looking good. Yes. We got a war goal on Tertulliquia. Now, in terms of who they could ally that could screw this all up, really the worst person they could ally is probably Olcadia or Coherencia. I think they'd be likelier to ally with Olcadia because they border them. If they were to ally with, for example, Aelaricia, that could actually be good for me because it would speed up my conquest. Keep in mind, every Carpetanian tile that I conquer adds to my levy strength, which then makes further conquests easier. Alright, I think things all look good. Let's go ahead and, in a rare move for a misadventure campaign, actually unpause the video in the first hour. Shocking. Let's go to speed 2 and proceed. We're going to keep an eye on these guys, though. Make sure that they don't do anything funny. Sounding out the opposition, debate has raged for many years over our rocky relationship with the nation-states resident in Contestania. Olcadia, a nation many in Dietiquia call a friend, stands well placed to provide us with assistance in our endeavors to control Contestania. Many of our more warlike advisors, however, seem intent on burning all bridges and laying waste to Olcadian land in an effort to further advance our cause. We're going to go for the benevolent image option, I think. Well, are we? I think we can get away with the warlike image. Let them know that their land is in our sight. I don't care if Olcadia doesn't like me. Actually, I do care. This is my ally I'm thinking about. Oh, whoops. I was getting them mixed up with Solicia. Well, my bad. That was a bit of a diplomatic blunder right there. But, as I like to say, that is just a micro mistake. They still like me well enough, and they'll forget about that sooner or later. Alright, February 1st, these guys have not picked up an ally, which means it's time for us to power in. I think we do want to invite Coherencia and Olcadia into this war, mostly to build stronger relations with both of them, as they're going to have same war opinion bonuses. Let's do it. Take Carpetania. Here we go. Alright, my tribal chief, the Iberian local power of Olcadia has honored a military alliance, as has Coherencia. Alright, in you go. This should be straightforward. I don't know if these guys will even have any cohorts, so maybe they'll have one cohort. We're going to be crossing a river into plains. This shouldn't be a problem. We've got a 9 martial leader. They do have a 10 martial leader, but we've got probably double their numbers, if not more than that. And we got friends coming in on the way soon. And this, meanwhile, is going to be done in about 11 months. So let's proceed. 17th of February. Let's see what they get up to. This is what I like to see. Alright, we're going to defeat them at Tertulliquia. Well, not even at full morale. Here we are. Alright, we have just completely slaughtered them. The Battle of Tertulliquia, the first battle of the campaign. Thankfully, an absolute rout. We barely lost anything. In fact, we ourselves lost nothing at all. The Olcadians lost 53 horsemen somehow. I guess against 500 horsemen they would have lost something. Alright, they are under siege now. We are going to assume control. We're already in control, never mind. No need to assume control. Wait for these guys to arrive, though, as we do need to have the 2,000 present to keep the siege going because of the way Invictus handles siege numbers. So we should keep that in mind. By ourselves, our forces are currently not large enough to do sieges, so keep that in mind for sure. Alright. I need you guys to all stay here with me and not do anything funny, please. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll do the assault once these guys arrive to reinforce me. That should... Nope. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I hadn't made any progress yet. That should be fine once everyone's here. Because then the lowest number of my own men will be used in the assault. Although we are at our manpower max, so perhaps a little bit of assaulting wouldn't be too bad. But I may as well have everybody here for even greater assault power. Food shortage, okay, that's a good start. These guys are rolling in here. Now, unfortunately, I'll have to lower my forces before these, I guess I could keep my forces raised. I guess what I could do is actually keep the war going, and then have all of my allies still here with my army when I declare the next wars, and then I end this war. Otherwise, they're going to lower their forces and not help me. I think this might be the way to do it, honestly. Alright, the region of Carpetania has remained a valuable source of trade and commerce for our nation for many long years. Many amongst the clan council insist that such a bountiful land would serve much better purpose if fully integrated under the deity queen banner. Of course, as with all matters of state, many are in opposition, claiming that a healthy relationship with their neighbors is far more important than a wanton land grab. The leaders of each side have presented their arguments and asked for an arbitration, as to which method would be more appropriate in our dealings with the various states resident in Carpetania. Alright, so we can go for relationships with the Arbiter or with the Wise One. We'll lose loyalty with the Arbiter, but I want to advance the warlike approach because we already committed to it earlier. Alright, it would prosper under our rule. Alright, these guys are very, very slowly showing up. Nobody here has more than 9, right? Okay, no, it doesn't look like it. Whew. That could be a disaster if that were to happen. Okay. Alright, so the pro of ending the war sooner is... I guess there isn't really a pro. The pro of not ending the war and just keeping things going is that I can then snowball my my allies' involvement into a war against the other Carpetanians, which incidentally, what's the alliance now look like? No one is allied with anybody. Okay, that's not what I was expecting to see. Okay, this is looking a little promising. Maybe we can pull something off here. I think given that I can't siege even a level 1 fort with my current army strength, I really should probably just keep the war going and make use of my allies. I will eventually get calls for peace, but not in time before the 1 year is over, and I should be able to then just snowball this into a conquest of the entire province with the help of my allies, especially because I'm a bit worried that Arcadia is going to be mad that I told them I was going to conquer them by accident. Whoops. It was a certified diplomatic snafu moment. It's like I'm at the podium and I got handed a speech that says I'm going to conquer your homeland, and the guy is holding the other paper that says we're going to be best friends with you, and he's like, oh no, I gave him the wrong speech. Whoops. Yikes. Alright, that's a certified mistake moment right there. One has to wonder how that scenario even happens. Alright. We're just going to go ahead and carry the siege out manually because we're already so far in. No need to do an assault. We got basically max manpower, but no need to lose manpower when we don't need to. Just because I'm at the max doesn't mean I should be hasty with my manpower decision making. Especially because I really want to keep the support from these guys going until I conquer all of the Carpetanian land, because then I get the levies from the land. Just these populations here won't really give me the strength by myself to not need the allies, so I should proceed like this, in this way. In fact, I should declare the wars once I can. It's going to be a bit weird. It'll be like 3 different wars. But I need to get these guys into war with me before they pick up alliances. I think that's a sure thing. We'll see what we have to do here. As for what direction we're going to go, I think what I may want to do is actually head south and try to get this first to get screwed up. The sacking of Titulkia Berokusa Karosus has led his men to glorious victory during the siege of Tetulkia. The enemy flee in disgrace, and all that is left is to decide on how to treat the residents within. Needless to say, these spoils of war will likely cause those back in Toletum to admire Berokusa greatly. Leaving such wealth in the hands of one man could cause problems in the future. Now, the reason I wanted in particular to be in charge here is not to get a giant sack, but to avoid a giant sack, as these are my people that would be getting killed, so let the looting be gentle. We don't really need lots of money right now. It's honestly okay. Alright, so now the question... Oh, these guys actually raised another levy. That's funny. I suppose we could go and kill these guys, but I'd rather not if I don't need to. Let's actually move down here. Not like that. Move to here, I think. And hope that these guys... Okay, they're going to get attacked. That's fine. I'll let my allies take losses fighting these guys. If they were allowed to disband after the war, they would become part of my population, so that would have been better. But, alright, that's fine. It is what it is. What's my food capacity like? Alright, we need to actually regain some food over here, so this little wait is not that bad. We're going to keep this war going, and then kind of use our momentum to get wars going against the other three. This is going to cause some war exhaustion problems, to say the least, but that's why we've got appeasing stance. I told you I was doing it preemptively for a reason. Alright, we just need to get our people under our control as fast as possible. Now, there are more Carpetanians up here, but they're not in the Carpetania province. This is stuff held by Wakaia, and it's awkwardly kind of up there. And it's in the Galakia region, which I don't really want to enter. I don't need to, so we'll get to them later. I think we're going to be okay. Now, one thing I could have done is I could have changed one of my laws, but I wanted to build up my stability for now. I will eventually start centralizing, but there's no huge rush, to be completely honest. And I think I want to... I don't want to dip super low in stability, especially as I'm going to be conquering a lot of territory here. I think once I'm around 50 stability, I'll do a law change. I really just want to keep my stability under control. After the misery of the Rome campaign where I had constant stability problems, I think I just need to be a bit more conservative with my stability usage. Alright, so let's see if these guys come and join me as I instructed them to. Alright, these guys should be regaining their food. Are they doing that? I think they are. These guys are just all walking around randomly. Alright, 2 months to go. Save our PI. Now, Solicia has no allies currently, and their numbers are very low. We can actually... They probably have 1, maybe 2 cohorts, so we should be fine to just move in without the allies right next to us. We just want the allies here to help us do the siege. These guys... Oh, okay, we have an alliance network up here. Okay, so these guys actually allied with the fully occupied Tertullicia, and they've allied with Moenicia. That's perfect. Alright, 2-for-1 deal. We can actually attack Moenicia once our claim is done, and not bother bringing those guys in, but they're already in a war with us, so it sort of doesn't matter anyways. Okay, and this will give us a war score right away, so that's actually perfect. That is perfect. Okay, I just need Solicia to not ally with Terdulia or anyone else that's going to be a problem for me. Just continue being isolated for 1 more month, and that is going to be what I want to see. Alright, everyone please gather around here if you wouldn't mind. The time has nearly come for our invasion southward. A few more days. And here we go. The clan council speaks. Rhetoric and debate have raged for a full year. The clan council of Dietiqui has reached a final stance on the matter of Contestania. Drawing a sharp breath, the herald recites, Contestania must belong to Dietiquia, reducing our diplomatic reputation, but adding additional war score cost reduction. Alright. And the time has come. Total war in Carpetania. Declare the war on Solicia and call in both of our allies to take their Carpetanian lands. Alright. Both of my allies have honored the call. And, while they're still in a call-honoring mood, declare war on Alaricia as well. They're going to call in the occupied Tertullicia and the unoccupied and future target of me, Moenicia, and I'll call in both of my allies. Actually, I can't because they're already in the war. Okay, that's fine. That's still gonna... Actually, I guess I could do it like this. Actually, I have to wait 1 month. Would this present any problem? It might. Okay, let me wait 1 month, and then I'll attack Moenikia, I think, or I'll declare on Moenikia in order to get them to call in without any problem, just to ensure they're at war with Alaricia and Moenikia. Again, this is all about ensuring I got the numbers for those sieges. So, Operation completely cause the province to collapse into total war is ongoing, and we are about ready to begin the invasion of Solicia, which will begin in the next episode of the Carpetania campaign. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.